Hey everybody, my name is Edward, and I'll be talking about Japanese culture and just how people communicate there. To start off, I just want to say that Japanese culture is a very beautiful culture. Anytime I see videos or pictures of the place, I always want to travel there. But just to start off, Japanese culture is a very unique one. It has amazing music, it has amazing media, amazing entertainment. But that's not the point of this presentation. The point of the presentation is to talk about how it is a high context culture, how it is a high power difference culture, and how it is a silence type culture when it comes to silence versus talking culture. Now, Japanese people, they tend to be high context communicators. Now, what this means is that they like to use a lot of nonverbal cues and a lot of nonverbal communication. They like to look around, like raise an eyebrow here and there. They they like to use their body. And what a high context means is they don't need direct or straightforward communication. They can kind of just interpret from how one person is acting or the motion that they're doing, or etc. Japanese culture is also a high power difference culture. Now, what this means is that in a case where, let's say in the office, right? In the office, it is very expected to treat somebody who is of a higher role with more respect than you would somebody that's on the same level as you are. If you were to treat somebody who is a higher level than you as somebody who is also on the same level as you, it can be seen as disrespectful. And I can kind of agree with that, as I've kind of grown up with that similar type of culture where people who have a higher status, I have to, treat them with more respect, treat them with more regard, listen to them more, pay attention to what they say more, and much more. Now, something interesting about Japanese culture is that they are silence culture. Um, in communications, there we have what is called talk versus silence. Now, what this means is just talking about whether a culture likes to talk a lot or whether they don't. That's it, simply put. To elaborate, with Japanese culture, they're a silence culture because they don't necessarily believe that all silence has to be filled with communication or conversation. They believe that silence is a form of communication. They don't believe that they value the silence in between conversations. They value silence as a way of saying, I'm listening to you, or I'm having you have your turn to say what you want to say. Now, this is very different from my own culture. Not very different, just the talk versus silence part of it, because Hispanic culture, we like to talk a lot. We don't like to really be quiet all that much, and we like to feel the silence. We like to feel the voice. We constantly like to gossip. We like to talk about how everybody's doing, how we're doing, and much more. However, we are also actually a high context and high power difference culture, which we have in common with Japanese culture. I've grown up always having to respect my dad a lot more. I was grown up having to respect my teachers, being taught that I have to kind of put them forward in a sense. And I don't have to fully expect myself to be heard in the type of where, like, I, if I think something is wrong, it would be harder for me to bring it up to that person because they would expect me to just accept what they say and what they say goes. So, and with that, that is how I think that Japanese culture and Hispanic culture are similar and set very different. I want you to think about how, you know, your culture that you might be involved in is also similar and or different to other cultures in this type of way that I'm comparing. And I just want you guys to remember that no matter what, every culture is beautiful in the end, and that you should always try to be respectful to how somebody's customs are. Thank you for watching.